Hi, I'm Brad Knowles, producer of Friday Night Flies, hosted by Scott LeBoldis and Scotty Holmes. Enjoy the show. Holy Toledos, we're just doing an audio check, make sure things are good here because as you can see, we're not in our usual helm, the layer, but you know what, we're not doubling on the mic, so I'm just gonna hang this up. Anyhow, I'm Brad Knowles, permanent fish finder, also known as Friday Night Flies. Everybody's hunkered down right now because of the COVID-19 malarkey, and hopefully everybody's staying healthy like myself and my family right now. Been having a little extra time to do some certain things, and I've been, well, you can see this is my fly tying bench, and there's certain patterns that we use a lot more than others. One of them's egg patterns. I don't know if you guys can see. There's a mix of a lot of eggs. That's a full Tupperware container. And so I've been just tinkering around the house, tying a few flies, getting ready for the upcoming season. And you can see I got a lot of different boxes there. A box and odds and ends, and I've got the creative juices flowing. But anyhow, tonight, as you can see down on the bottom screen right here, like if you look down the bottom corner, we're using some new stuff from Superfly called the Super Weave Mylar piping, which is Mylar tubing. There's a bunch of different names for it, but we got a new color in at the store, and it's Silver Doctor Blue, which is really cool. One that I've used a lot in the past. This size, and the large is just your regular pearl. So the pearl, you know, they make really awesome bodies. I'm not sure. You know what I should do here while I'm doing this is I'm gonna log in. Actually, you know what? I'll answer all your guys' questions later on after we're done tying this fly. But what I'll do is I'll go down, give this fly a slow roll. Like I said earlier, I'm kind of a one-man wrecking crew. My son Jack is sitting behind the camera with me, but as we always say, the show must go on. So this is a pattern I've been working on. It's really difficult with the lighting that I've got in here. I've got a big lamp that's up above here, but when you've got really hot colors, so when you put hot underneath dark color, it looks really funky. And with all the UV lights that I've got in the house, or the LED lights, it's really taken from the colors. And I've tried my best to get them as clear as I can. It's difficult to even make this stuff focus in clear, but there's that beautiful Mylar tubing that we've put in there, the Silver Doctor. And then of course we built up our head with Solarez Thin, which is another great product. Anyhow, what we used on this fly, I'm just going to dig into my secret stash of hooks. I'm using pretty big hooks for a simple reason that we're going to be trolling for big trout, and you want to get structure. These things are going to be, I'm going to be trolling them really fast, probably around 3 or 4 miles an hour. and I don't want the hook laying on its side. So the weight of the shank is gonna help ride true. Plus, with all the deer hair, it's gonna try and help it stay upright as much. It helps if you get the head perfect as well, and if there's any imperfections, it'll try to make it lay a little bit. But I mean, there's little tricks and things that you can do to make them ride, but the biggest one is just going with a bigger, heavier shank, and that'll make that thing ride as straight as you can. So I've got a secret stash of old hooks that you guys will probably never see in your lifetime, and the price tag will tell you how old it is. But these are old Sprott hooks, 4/0 packages of 50. I'm not sure if these things were, yeah, these, if you look up at the top, it says made in Norway. I highly doubt that they're made in Norway anymore. My wife is in the background. What's going on, sweetheart?
You have the writing, so when you talk, it types, which isn't accurate.
What do you mean? Well, oh, have you got your captioning on your thing?
Oh, maybe.
Well, check. No, I don't have any.
Right.
Just check and see if your captioning's on. So anyhow, because I talked through the side of my mouth a little bit, sometimes the captioning doesn't actually catch exactly what I'm saying, and hopefully that's the case with my wife. I love her to death. She could never be wrong. It's probably something I've done, so I'm going to take all responsibility on that one, because as much as I like being right, you're never right when it comes to your wife. So anyhow, what we've started with is a Mustad Sprott hook. If you can find this product number, it's a 3906. Let me know, because I will take a whole whack of them. Anyhow, so now so that we're gonna get busy on this. I'm sure everybody's at home's got lots of time on their hands, so I'm gonna try and explain it. Like I said in the description, I am very new at bucktailing. I've tried it in the past with not a lot of success. We based this fly off of another real popular fly that we used for coastal cutthroat bull trout called the Pemby Mylar Minnow, and I assure you that pattern is absolutely deadly. But it's only one tone. It's got either blue or pink or white or natural bucktail colors, and they are absolutely amazing. They cast nice, they ride true in the water. The one thing with these big old hooks is that you're going to have to do is right off the start here, on these big old hooks, there was a pretty big gap. So you fill that in so your line doesn't slide off when you're building your head, and then just put a coating down here. It doesn't really matter that much. You're not going for perfection or anything like that. But one thing I did notice is that if you don't color the hook with the white, the color of the bronze hook shows through the mylar. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll peel this back. You can actually see through there, but if you don't color that hook white, you'll see a plain as day hook line going right through the middle. So I suggest you just take a few extra seconds, color up that shank as much as you can with white. If you want to make your body look a little different, you can add like an underthread, like say a red, a green. I haven't really messed around with it much. I did with the Mylar Minnow, and it was pretty cool. Before we got our hands on that, the Silver Doctor, all I was using really was the pearl, and the pearl really shows colors through. So I would put greens underneath it, or pinks, or blues, or greens, and a whole bunch of different colors, and it was pretty cool. It would change the body a whole lot. So for the tail, the mylar tubing, you're going to pull it down over the back of the shank, but just for a little extra what's up, I've been taking some of the mallard flank, smaller pieces that I have troubles finding uses for, like something like this that's got real scragged tips, and you know, just too short for. I tie a ton of moto minnows. So if you're looking for another real good salmon fry pattern, moto minnow is one of the best. We've done our own. I've seen a whole bunch of different variations of it, but as far as I'm concerned, and I'm not being biased, you can talk to a lot of different guys that fish them. Our version is the bomb. So take the time, go onto our website, FridayNightFlies.com, and just check out our version. Like, there's probably about 15 versions. The improved moto is the one that I always suggest, and it's full white mallard flank collar, and it's got a red dubbing around the for a collar behind the head. Anyhow, so we're gonna fire this on here, and this is just gonna sit inside the back end of the Mylar tubing when you pull it over. And all I'm gonna do is just kind of uniform this up a little bit. I noticed with a couple other ones that I did, and I didn't put the taper on. Sometimes your thread wants to jump past it, and then it makes a little bit of a trickier transition. So when you finish that on there, I'm going to show you some different tools. So your traditional whip finishing tool is short, right? When you guys are working with longer shanks or jig heads or different things, you're going to want to get yourself a big whip finishing tool. Okay, for the simple reason that when you go to tie your whip finishing knot way back at the back end of a fly, which you're not typically doing unless you're experimenting with some different stuff, you're going to have a real big pain in the butt when you're trying to do it. So have a few different tools. There's this great sport shop up in Pemberton called Spud Valley Sporting Goods that sells all your fly tying needs, and it just happens to be our family business. So we got the large, which one is this one? This is the large as well. So it's a super weave Mylar piping. You can get it with just regular Mylar tubing. There's, like I said, every fly tying company has got their own version. So what I've been doing is just going back past the tail a little bit, cutting it a little bit longer. You don't want to cut this stuff with your good scissors, so have an old pair of clunkers that you can use. Like, who uses these anymore, really? Cut the Mylar tubing. And what we do, push the middle back a little bit more, and you'll see that the insert in the middle will want to come out of there eventually. Usually it's not that hard to get out. There we go. And then the center tube comes out. Throw that away. I haven't found a use for that stuff yet, so if you guys have a use for that stuff, let me know. So with this fly, the reason we tie it off in the back end before we slip it over is that if you don't, your thread will hold this fly back, and it makes it a real nasty bugger to try and tie through. It makes it difficult to tie. So if you don't, you can just push all this stuff through, and you see how it just sits there nice. Like, it looks kind of flashy off the tail right now, but once I pick all that stuff out, it looks real good. So you can just kind of find where it wants to sit nice and pretty, pulling all the stuff through so it's not trapping anything. Right about there somewhere. You're going to take your fly tying thread, and where did we tie that knot? There's the knot right there. One loose wrap, and all you're going to do is suck that guy tight, and we're going to tie just a little bit in there. See, I went over. So you got to be careful with that. See how I was talking about that knot at the end, or where you guys are tying it off? You don't want to go past that guy, because if you do, that's what happens. So loose one, just like that. Cut this thread off, and we're going to go back to the long neck whip finishing tool, and we're just going to whip finish off that guy. Okay, so when that guy's tied off, what we're gonna do is give it a dab of head cement, which is, I had to move everything around, there it is. So you can see how that's gonna flow. We'll give that a little Velcro strip through. A little bit of Solar Red bone dry, and all we're gonna do is just give it a dab to protect the knot. Last thing you want is that monster rainbow trout to have your fly completely unravel. And then we're going to cure it with a UV light here quick, and then on to the next stage. Hopefully you guys are sending me a bunch of questions. If you guys know how to use Mylar, or not Mylar tubing, but bucktails for catching those big rainbows up in the interior of British Columbia or in eastern on Kootenay Lake, let me know. And let me know what you think of our little bucktail that we've been working on. I always like a little bit of feedback. So we got that. We're going to swap thread colors. We're going to go to green. You're going to see why here real shortly. Same thing, one loose one, pull it up tight, and try your best not to lose the nice structure of that Mylar tubing. So you'll see, like, if you give it a little twist or whatever, it's going to want to spin. You don't want it spinning, you want it to stay nice and rigid like it is. And if you find that it's got a little bit of a twist, just back it off, right? And look at it again. And try it again. There you go. Try it again. There it looks. Looking sexy. Perfect. So that's what you want to do. You just keep messing with it until it looks right. And then it'll be a nice full body. You'll get a beautiful fly. And it won't look real flat on one side. And that's not what you want. So once that happens, you want to clean all this stuff up in behind the head. Some of these flies are a little bit more time consuming than others. But the thing with bucktails is that you're not really going to go through them too much. So people charge a little bit more money for them. But they seem to last a lot longer. Any trolling fly usually does. I mean, some people will use these for salmon on the ocean. I'm going to try them on the big lakes around Pemberton for the big bull trout, the big rainbows that haunt the lakes. And hopefully we get into something real nice. So that Mylar is looking really, really sexy. It's hard to see with the lighting if I try and block it out, but like I said, it's just any of this really shiny stuff or high fluorescence. The cameras just have they struggle picking it up. Okay, so as we say, the show must go on. So I got this beautiful hot pink bucktail. I'm going to take a nice chunk of this stuff. It's always better when I can answer some questions, but like I said, tonight I'm a bit of a one-man wrecking crew. When you're working with bucktail, always have a little garbage can or a garbage bin beside you, because this stuff gets everywhere. Just ask Jack, he'll tell you. Hey Jack?
Yeah.
This stuff gets everywhere, buddy. Alright, so when you guys are building your wing for your bucktail, you're going to want to measure it up. So that's about just a little bit past the length of the tail. Cut it off into your garbage pail that's beside you on the floor. Either that or you better have a good vacuum, because if your wife comes into the back room and finds all that bucktail, especially hot pink bucktail, she's going to be asking questions. So you start off with a couple soft rolls, and you get a little bit tighter, taper it off to the front, and you want to bring it right back to where you built your body. Wow, that thing's starting to look good already, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? So we're gonna just continue the taper real nice. We're not gonna put too much thread on there, because the next step is gonna be putting the dark wing on top of that, which we got right here, dark blue. I'm gonna definitely be messing with some more traditional colors like your greens and grays and blacks and naturals. So it's just that I had some pink out because we were actually tying some cutthroat flies called the Pemby Mylar Minnow. And I figured, you know what, since I'm tying hot, I might as well stick with the hot crew and tie some hot ones. But here in the near future, you're going to see some natural colors coming out with a little twist, of course. So all I'm doing is I'm just pulling all the little shorties out of there. You don't want the shorties in your stack. Poor man's hair stacker coming up. So same thing, we're going to take this and just make it about the same length, maybe a little bit longer than the pink underneath, and just double checking, and that looks about sweet right there. Cut that stuff off, cut those ends off. We're going to lay it right up on top here again, and just like with the pink, start off with a loose roll at first, and then tighter as you go forward, and work that head out. And you're going to bring it right back to the pink. Back to that beautiful pink. You can see what's going on here. Starting to look pretty good, eh, Jack? What do you say, bud? Looking pretty good there?
Yeah.
So we're just looking over at the camera. This is I got my little laptop sitting beside me here. We're just making sure everything's looking real sexy. Hey, Jack.
What?
You know what you should do? Why don't you run out and grab a couple of Dad's new Friday Night Flies hats that we got out there.
Okay.
And since everybody's at home,
there might be a couple in here.
There might be some? Okay, well, if there isn't, maybe I'll get you to just run out and bug your mom. And, oh, you know what? Get a couple of the trucker. Yeah, those are the flat brims that I made for myself. We do have some more flat brims that are fitted. But we've got. Can you go and bug your mom and get a trucker style Friday Night Flies hat? Anyhow, maybe we'll do a little contest while everybody's sitting at home. And why don't we see who's got the nicest bucktail out there? And this is open to anybody, man. And what it'll get you is a brand new, nobody has one of these other than me, brand new Friday Night Flies hat. I think that's a pretty sweet deal. And it's like putting a golden horseshoe on your head.
They're right beside you.
Oh, there is. Is your mom going to help?
Yeah.
So we're working on a head. Still working on the head here. A little bit of thread. You see what I'm doing? Just building the head up a little bit. And then I always like to finish my heads off with a little bit of red thread. Hey, there's Melissa. Hi, Melissa.
Hi.
Okay, so I got everything kind of set up here. Do you have the snapbacks or the trucker style?
Yeah.
We're gonna do a little contest since we're doing a bucktail tonight, and everybody should be at home or is at home because of this COVID-19 stuff. We've been in isolation. I haven't worked in, what is it, 35 days now?
I've lost track.
It's been forever. I'm going crazy. Actually, no, I'm not going crazy. I'm actually enjoying the time at home with my kids and my wife and family. I live a pretty high-paced life.
Jack, what are you doing, buddy?
All over the place fishing. I'm one of those guys that fishes about 310 to 325 days a year. I mean, I'm blessed, but at the same hand, it's long days in the sunshine.
I already talked.
Okay, the mic is back where you guys are, just so you guys know. So, anyhow, what you guys are seeing right here is a little bit of fish trickery. And what we're doing here is building the back of the head, the gills, right? Okay, what do you got there, Jack? Here. So, ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to do is we're going to take a little breather from the fly, and we're going to show you something here. Jack's just itching to show you guys. Look at these beauties. You see these? These are Friday Night Flies, brand new lucky fishing hats. One says, lock it down. Anybody that's been a fan of our show for a long time knows what that's all about. That's locking down your thread. And the other one just has FridayNightFlies.com on the back. So, what we're going to do, I'm going to explain afterwards and then I'll post it up later. But I want everybody to send us their favorite bucktail and share it on our Facebook page. Friday night or facebook.com/Friday Night Flies. Post up your favorite bucktail pattern, and like the last contest that we had, the guy or lady with the most likes will get one of these cherished Friday Night Flies ball caps. What do you think, Jack?
Not just
Oh.
a cherished hat, but the
I
first
love
hat.
you.
Well, I've got the first one, but
Okay, second.
but I'll be honest with you, I haven't even left home with it, so nobody's even seen it. And I'm always rocking fish finder hats. So either way, that Friday Night Flies one is pretty dope, but these new Friday Night Flies, they're cat's meow. So I've got a sheet here with a whole bunch of different eyeballs. I've been tying them with gold. I'm going to try this one with a silver eye. A big silver eye.
Sorry. Jack, don't get that.
So, put one on there. Try your best not to make them look too cross-eyed. Hey, Jack?
Yeah.
You don't want to be cross-eyed.
No.
Heck no. Why don't you want to be cross-eyed? Chicks might not dig it. Right, bud? Hey, why don't you come on over this side? Come over here. Oh, you're bumping cameras now. Come on over here, buddy. So anyhow, stand up here beside me. So this is my son, Jack. Here, you're going to look at this camera here. He's my fishing buddy. He's my fly tying buddy. He means the world to me, along with all my other little guys. And
You know,
what do you think? You think this pattern's going to be deadly, bud? Okay, Dad's going to continue here. I know you want to get into this show with me, but the show must continue, and I'm sure everybody out there is appreciating a little bit of family time. Hopefully you're not out there all by yourself in these troubling times, and hopefully you got good health. And it sounds like we're starting to see a bit of a down curve on the COVID front, and hopefully, I'm a big hugger. I love hugging my kids. I love hugging, you know, and I'm one of those guys that likes doing handshakings and stuff, and I'm not sure if we're ever going to be able to go back to that, but hopefully we do. I mean, it's kind of weird. Like, I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was doing a big trade show just before all the COVID stuff happened, and people were not really knowing how to react to each other. Like, you know, they're like, hey, and they'll high five, and they're like elbows, and they just didn't know what to do because they knew, like, hey, you're not supposed to handshake right now, so don't handshake. So what do? Like, you grow up in a society that's handshakers, and suddenly you can't handshake no more. It's kind of weird, man, I'll tell you, especially in my industry. We're used to throwing lots of high fives. So anyhow, hopefully you guys don't have the same
but you
problems
can
we do.
still high five
You think so?
Mom and Toby and Jordan and...
Yeah, I think with family it's a little different. Okay, so what I'm working with here is I got some thin UV solar, as you guys probably saw that smoking. All we're doing is just filling in on the thread, and you can see the difference of it already. It really builds us a fantastic head in a whole lot of hurry. So, I mean, you don't want to be too crazy with adding too much at a time, so I usually just go a little bit on top, a little bit on the sides. If you go too quick, the next thing you know, it wants to run down the other side and kind of get into everything, and you don't really want that. You want to just kind of just take your time. Hey, nothing comes good from rushing your way through life. Hey, Jack?
No.
It's kind of like reading, right?
Yeah.
Jack likes reading a lot. I don't know whose kid he is, because that's one thing I didn't really care too much about in school, was reading and writing.
Every
and all
time
that
I wanted to go onto the computer.
That's right. You love your reading and writing and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're just making sure that this head is perfected. So I'm just giving it a kind of a slow roll just to see that I make sure I'm not getting any bulges anywhere. Bulges, no bulges, and lock it down. Lock her down.
Look her down.
It's funny, we, you know, you never know what's like politically correct or anything. And we were looking at different slogans because like with the fish finder, we built ours. It says "We talk trout" on the back, right? That's a big thing. And we're like, what do we put on the back of the or the Friday Night Flies? Like, what's a popular thing? And then I always like, we always say "lock her down" or "lock it down." And I'm like, wait a second, we can't say "lock her down." I don't know if that's politically correct. So let's say "lock it down." So if you occasionally hear me say "lock her down," it's just slang. But we're trying our best not to be like that. So lock it down. That's what we're trying to say.
Lock it down.
Lock it down. So there was just a little spot here that I missed. So I'm just going to add a little bit more color filler. And you want to make sure that that head's nice and smooth. Ain't that right, Jack, man?
Yeah.
I'll make sure that head's nice and smooth. Smooth and hard as nails.
This is my first time.
Being on the show and watching Dad tying this bucktail. That's right, buddy boy. So one thing with solar res is that it dries really nice and hard and cures nice. But this fly is done. Pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think, Jack? You think that's going to catch a fish, bud?
Yeah.
So you got that beautiful mylar tubing down on the bottom. We pulled it through so that the, and then that's another thing you can do if I could find myself a Velcro strip, which I have here in the back corner. Amongst all my, we can kind of brush this out a little bit, pull this up and brush that tail, make it look a little bit fishier. There you go. Just like that, ladies and gentlemen. Turn this guy a little bit. We'll give this one a slow roll. See how perfect that head is? Bulletproof. Big rainbow. Gonna smash this thing. We're gonna have to get a few pictures of those big rainbows smashing this thing. And another thing is that when you're looking at this mylar tubing in the body, see, we were talking about the underlay of the mylar tubing, right? If you go to the pearl, which is like the clear one, you can mess around with different colors underlaying. Like try olives, try greens, like forest greens, try chartreuses, try reds, try blacks. You'd be amazed at how it changes the color of this mylar tubing. Look at this little guy. He just wants another hug, doesn't he? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go back up to camera 2 here. And we're just going to, once again, we're going to thank everybody for watching. We got, actually, you know what? I've got my hat here too. I'm just going to reach over and grab it. There, I think this one's mine. Swapping up the hats here quickly with my son on my lap. Look at that. That's the flat brim. So if you're looking at this guy and you're thinking, man, I want a flex fit flat brim. Well, we're not giving these ones away, but we're gonna have them on our website. I think they're gonna retail for around $29.99 Canadian. So for you American folks, it's very, very affordable. That'll help us keep the show going strong. And I think these, I think the trucker style ones, we're gonna have them on sale for $19.99, and they're all snapback, real nice hats. And that one's our famous lock it down, right? Lock it down, baby, lock it down. And then this one doesn't have the saying on the front. It's just our dope logo with FridayNightFlies.com on the back, so everybody knows what you're fronting. Anyhow, so what we're gonna do, Jack, is that we want to see your favorite bucktail. Okay, this is the one we've got. It's called the Mylar Bucktail. We don't need to see your version of our bucktail. Let's see your bucktail, your favorite bucktail. And I'll post up the contest rules. It'll be similar to the last one that we did. And you will get one of our new Friday Night Flies hats. And we're going to leave it at that. Anyhow, Jack, you want to say goodnight to everybody?
Good night, everybody.
Here, look up at the camera over here.
Good night, everybody.
It is coming from the Knowles family. Anyhow, I hope everybody's staying safe out there and healthy. All right, we're signing out.